Welcome to Future Talk. This is the program that looks at the global impact of technology, both the promises and the perils, and tries to figure out just where this new technology is taking us. On today's program, we're going to talk about global climate change and how technology has helped to create the problem and how technology might be able to help solve it. We'll be focusing on the work of the U.S.-China Green Energy Council. It's a group of American and Chinese citizens that includes scientists, businessmen, academics, and government policymakers, and the goal is to find ways that the U.S. and China, which are the two biggest industrial powers and therefore the two biggest polluters, can work together to produce cleaner energy. Jim Caldwell is on the board of directors of the council. He's also the president of E3 Regenesis Solutions Incorporated, where he works on green energy alliances and energy systems integration. Cliff Nakayama is also on the board of directors, and he's on the council's transportation task force as well. He has extensive experience in the automotive industry, and he's an expert on electric cars. He's also the managing director of Mostwell International, which provides services to American companies that do business in China and vice versa. Before we start the discussion, we have a short video from National Geographic which illustrates the problem that the Council is trying to solve. Let's take a look.
For 2.5 million years, the Earth's climate has fluctuated, cycling from ice ages to warmer periods. But in the last century, the planet's temperature has risen unusually fast, about 1.2 to 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists believe it's human activity that's driving the temperatures up, a process known as global warming. Ever since the Industrial Revolution began, factories, power plants, and eventually cars have burned fossil fuels such as oil and coal, releasing huge amounts of carbon dioxide and other gases into the atmosphere. These greenhouse gases trap heat near the Earth through a naturally occurring process called the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect begins with the sun and the energy it radiates to the Earth. The Earth and the atmosphere absorb some of this energy, while the rest is radiated back into space. Naturally occurring gases in the atmosphere trap some of this energy and reflect it back, warming the Earth. Scientists now believe that the greenhouse effect is being intensified by the extra greenhouse gases that humans have released. Evidence for global warming includes a recent string of very warm years. Scientists report that 1998 was the warmest year in measured history, with 2005 coming in second. Meanwhile, readings taken from ice cores show that the greenhouse gases carbon dioxide and methane have hit their highest levels in the past 420,000 years. Arctic sea ice is also shrinking. According to NASA studies, the extent of Arctic sea ice has declined about 10% in the last 30 years. As long as industrialized nations consume energy and developing countries increase their fossil fuel consumption, the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere will continue to rise. Researchers predict that temperatures will increase about 2 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century. What's less certain is what rising temperatures mean for the planet. Some climate models predict subtle changes. Others forecast rising sea levels which could flood coastal areas around the world. Weather patterns could change, making hurricanes more frequent. Severe droughts could become more common in warm areas, and species unable to adapt to the changing conditions would face extinction. Although much remains to be learned about global warming, many organizations advocate cutting greenhouse gas emissions to reduce the impact of global warming. Consumers can help by saving energy around the house, switching to compact fluorescent light bulbs, and driving fewer miles in the car each week. These simple changes may help keep the Earth cooler in the future.
Jim, just how urgent do you think the problem of global warming really is? Some people think it is the most urgent problem facing mankind. Others say that, maybe that's a little exaggerated. What do you think?
I think that global warming is very important to consider, but that would be a single factor analysis. Is a defective way of analyzing how the world works. There are many variables operating all the time, and global warming is one of them.
Now, what does your organization, the U.S.-China Green Energy Council, do about global warming? I know your focus is on carbon emissions and greenhouse gases. What do you actually do?
Actually, we focus on U.S.-China collaboration to try to not only solve the climate crisis, but to take advantage of the opportunity it presents for us to work together and create a more robust economy for ourselves and for the rest of the world.
Is this people-to-people collaboration, or is there also an element of governmental collaboration?
Well, this is part of what we need to understand. In this current 21st century, we need to stop thinking so much about individuals and single countries, because it is one planet, it's our home for all of us. So we have to look at how we work together to make it a better place for all of us.
Considering the competition, maybe you could answer this, Cliff, considering the competition between nations that have been going on for so many centuries, is it possible to put all of that aside just because we might be threatened with extinction?
Well, I think between the U.S. and China, there's a lot more similarities than there are differences. And of course, here in California, on the Pacific Rim, we feel it in spades because of the large population of the Asian community already here. And people are already collaborating in that sense.